The soft morning light streamed through the window of Molly Johnston's modest yet cozy workshop, illuminating the colorful array of fabrics and threads that adorned the room. With practiced grace, Molly's slender fingers danced across the fabric, weaving intricate patterns and designs that seemed to come to life beneath her touch. Her daughter April, a vibrant presence in the room, sat nearby, her eyes sparkling with admiration as she watched her mother work her magic. "Mom, that bag is beautiful," April exclaimed, her voice filled with genuine awe. Molly smiled warmly, her heart swelling with pride at her daughter's words. "Thank you, sweetheart," she replied, her voice tinged with affection. "I've been experimenting with some new designs lately, and I think I've finally found my groove." April leaned in closer, her curiosity piqued. "Do you think you'll ever sell your bags, Mom?" she asked, her eyes shining with excitement. "I bet people would love them." Molly paused for a moment, her mind whirring with possibilities. The idea of turning her passion for crafting into a business had crossed her mind before, but she had always hesitated, unsure if she had what it took to succeed. But as she looked into her daughter's hopeful eyes, she felt a surge of determination coursing through her veins. "I think you might be onto something, April," Molly said, her voice filled with quiet resolve. "Maybe it's time I took a chance and pursued my dreams." And so, with April's unwavering support and encouragement, Molly set out on a new journey, her heart brimming with hope and excitement for what the future might hold. Little did she know this moment would mark the beginning of an extraordinary adventure filled with triumphs, challenges, and unexpected discoveries. The Johnston household buzzed with excitement as April bounded down the stairs, her eyes sparkling with joy. "Mom, you'll never believe what happened," she exclaimed, her voice ringing with excitement. Molly looked up from her morning cup of coffee, a smile tugging at the corners of her lips as she took in her daughter's radiant expression. "What is it, April?" she asked, her curiosity piqued. April practically bounced with anticipation as she delivered the news. "Hunter proposed, Mom," she exclaimed, her words tumbling out in a rush. "We're getting married." Molly's heart swelled with happiness at her daughter's announcement, her eyes shining with pride. "Oh, April, that's wonderful news," she exclaimed, her voice filled with genuine joy. "I couldn't be happier for you both." But beneath the surface of their shared excitement lurked a shadow of uncertainty. Molly couldn't shake the nagging feeling that Hunter's family might not be as accepting of their union as she hoped. She had heard whispers of their skepticism, their disdain for single mothers like herself. But she pushed aside her fears, focusing instead on the love and happiness radiating from her daughter's smile. As the day of the meet and greet with Hunter's family approached, Molly couldn't help but feel a knot of apprehension tightening in her stomach. Would they judge her based on outdated stereotypes, or would they see her for the loving, devoted mother she truly was? With a deep breath and a silent prayer for courage, Molly prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead, determined to stand by her daughter's side no matter what. Little did she know, the road ahead would be fraught with obstacles and unexpected revelations, testing the bonds of love and family in ways she never could have imagined. The elegant restaurant shimmered with opulence as Molly and April stepped inside, their anticipation mingled with a hint of trepidation. Hunter's family awaited them, their expressions guarded and their greetings stiff. Kelly, Hunter's mother, offered a strained smile that failed to reach her eyes, while Maggie, her daughter, eyed them with thinly veiled disdain. "Hello, Mrs. Johnston," Kelly said, her tone polite yet tinged with frost as she extended a hand towards Molly. "It's lovely to finally meet you." Molly forced a smile in return, her instincts on high alert as she took in the subtle tension that hung in the air. "Thank you, Kelly," she replied, her voice carefully neutral. "It's a pleasure to meet you as well." As the meal progressed, Molly and April found themselves on the receiving end of pointed remarks and veiled insults. Kelly's comments about Molly's occupation and April's upbringing cut deeper than any knife, casting a pall over what should have been a joyous occasion. "So Molly," Kelly began, her voice dripping with fox sweetness, "tell me more about this handmade items business of yours. It sounds quaint." Molly's jaw tightened at the thinly veiled condescension in Kelly's tone, but she refused to rise to the bait. "It's a labor of love," she replied, her voice steady despite the rising tide of discomfort. "I find great joy in creating unique pieces that bring beauty and joy to others." Maggie, ever the echo of her mother's disdain, chimed in with a snide remark of her own. Must be a far cry from the glamorous world Hunter is used to, she said, her eyes flicking towards April with thinly veiled superiority. April's cheeks flushed with indignation, but before she could respond, Molly intervened with a gentle hand on her arm. We all have different paths in life, she said, her voice calm yet firm. But what matters most is the love and happiness we find along the way. Despite her efforts to maintain her composure, Molly couldn't shake the feeling of unease that settled over her like a heavy cloak. The warmth of the restaurant seemed to fade into the background, replaced by the chill of judgment and prejudice. Little did she know, this uncomfortable encounter would be just the beginning of a tumultuous journey filled with unexpected twists and turns. As the tension simmered beneath the surface of the elegant restaurant, Molly felt a flicker of defiance ignite within her. She refused to be defined by the narrow-minded judgments of others, determined to assert herself in the face of prejudice. In a moment of quiet resolve, Molly seized the opportunity to reveal her true identity to Hunter's family. With a calm yet determined voice, she spoke up, her words cutting through the strained atmosphere like a knife. I think it's time I shared something with you all. Molly began, her gaze steady as she locked eyes with each member of Hunter's family. I am the president of Johnston Bags. The revelation hung in the air like a thunderclap, silence descending upon the table as shock rippled through Hunter's family. Kelly's eyes widened in disbelief, her mouth opening and closing soundlessly as she struggled to find words. Maggie's expression morphed from haughty disdain to stunned disbelief, her carefully constructed facade crumbling in the face of Molly's revelation. But how? She stammered, her voice barely more than a whisper. Molly's lips curved into a small, knowing smile as she watched the realization dawn on Hunter's family. I built my business from the ground up, she explained, her voice tinged with quiet pride, and I will not allow anyone to diminish the value of my hard work and dedication. The weight of Molly's words hung heavy in the air, a tangible reminder of the strength and resilience that lay beneath her seemingly unassuming exterior. And as Hunter's family grappled with the newfound knowledge of Molly's true identity, Molly couldn't help but feel a sense of vindication wash over her. In that moment, she knew that she had shattered their preconceived notions and shattered the barriers of prejudice that had once stood between them. And though the road ahead would undoubtedly be fraught with challenges, Molly was more determined than ever to stand her ground and assert her worth in the face of adversity. In the aftermath of Molly's revelation, a palpable tension hung in the air, thick and suffocating. Hunter's family struggled to come to terms with the truth of Molly's identity, their pride wounded by their own ignorance and prejudice. Despite their shock, they attempted to salvage their pride by pressuring Molly to collaborate with Useful Crafts, their family business. But Molly refused to compromise her principles for the sake of appeasing those who had belittled her and her daughter. I appreciate the offer, Molly said, her voice steady but firm, but I must decline. I cannot in good conscience align myself with a company whose representatives have shown such blatant disrespect towards me and my family. Hunter's father, David, exchanged a furtive glance with his wife, his brow furrowed in consternation. But Molly, this collaboration could be mutually beneficial for both parties, he argued, his tone tinged with desperation. Think of the opportunities it could provide for you and your business. Molly shook her head, her resolve unwavering. My integrity is not for sale, she declared, her voice ringing with conviction. I refuse to compromise my values for the sake of profit. As the reality of Molly's refusal settled over the table like a heavy shroud, Hunter's family exchanged uneasy glances, grappling with the consequences of their actions. The once secure facade of their world crumbled before their eyes, leaving them scrambling for purchase in the shifting sands of their own making. But despite their protests and pleas, Molly remained steadfast in her decision, refusing to be swayed by empty promises or hollow gestures. For she knew that true strength lay not in bending to the will of others, but in standing firm in the face of adversity, no matter the cost. And as she watched Hunter's family grapple with the repercussions of their actions, she couldn't help but feel a sense of vindication wash over her, knowing that she had stayed true to herself and her values, no matter the consequences. After Molly turned down the chance to team up with Useful Crafts, Hunter's family hit a rough patch financially. Their once thriving business, a source of pride, now faced uncertain times due to their own mistakes. Hunter's parents, David and Kelly, had poured their hearts into building useful crafts from scratch, but they were blindsided by market changes, leaving them struggling to keep up with shifting consumer trends. As sales dropped and debts piled up, David and Kelly felt the squeeze from creditors and suppliers. Their stable income crumbled under the weight of their own pride, leaving them scrambling to salvage what they could. Despite their efforts, they couldn't stop the business from closing down. Useful Crafts shut its doors, leaving David and Kelly in dire straits, their pride shattered by the reality of their choices. David and Kelly approached Molly, desperate for redemption and a chance to save their livelihoods. Their faces showed the strain of worry as they pleaded for forgiveness and a shot at making things right. "Molly, please," David urged, his voice filled with desperation. "We messed up, but we're willing to do whatever it takes to fix it. Our family's future is hanging by a thread, and we've run out of options." Kelly nodded in agreement, tears welling up. "We were wrong to judge you like we did," she admitted, her voice trembling with emotion. "But our family is hurting, and we're hoping for another chance." Molly listened, torn between understanding and determination. While she sympathized with their plight, she couldn't just brush off the disrespect they'd shown her family. "I get where you're coming from," Molly said, her tone firm yet compassionate. "But I can't ignore the hurtful stuff that was said and done. Forgiveness might come later, but it can't be forced or bought." As David and Kelly exchanged resigned looks, Molly felt a pang of sympathy. She knew how tough it was to face hard times, but she also knew the importance of standing up to injustice. As they left, shoulders slumped in defeat, David and Kelly wrestled with their own regrets. They'd let their pride and prejudices blind them, and now they were paying the price. Molly hoped they'd find the strength to bounce back, despite everything. True redemption, she believed, came from owning up to your mistakes and working toward a better tomorrow. As things calmed down and wounds started to heal, Molly stood at the threshold of a new beginning. With April at her side, they pressed forward, stronger and more determined than ever. Their home hummed with excitement as they geared up for the next leg of their journey. They packed boxes and laid out plans, each move a testament to their resilience and unbreakable bond. "We're really doing this, Mom," April burst out, her eyes gleaming with excitement as she looked over their packed stuff. "Starting fresh in a new spot, with fresh chances waiting for us." Molly beamed warmly, her heart swelling with pride at her daughter's upbeat attitude. "You bet," she chimed in, her voice tinged with anticipation. "And I couldn't be prouder of the strong, independent woman you've grown into." Together, they loaded up their things into the car, leaving behind the memories of their past and embracing the promise of a brighter future. As they cruised away from the familiar streets of their old neighborhood, Molly felt a wave of liberation wash over her. The road ahead was uncertain, full of twists and turns they couldn't foresee. But with April by her side, Molly knew they could brave any storm that came their way. Arriving at their new home, nestled in a charming neighborhood with tree-lined streets and welcoming neighbors, Molly felt a sense of peace wash over her. This was their fresh start, their chance to create the life they'd always dreamed of. Stepping through the door of their new home, Molly felt a rush of gratitude for the hurdles they'd conquered and the lessons they'd absorbed along the way. In the end, it wasn't the hardships they faced that defined them, but the strength and resilience they found in each other. As they unpacked and settled into their new digs, Molly felt a renewed sense of hope blooming within her heart. In those quiet moments of reflection, she knew their journey was far from over. But with April by her side, she was ready to tackle whatever the future held, confident that together they could overcome anything in their path.